Alrighty, guys. Thanks for joining me. This is your host, IDJESTER, once again with some matchup hockey. Reintroducing matchup hockey. So I've been secretly working on this again for a while now. And so what I'm going to do in this video is talk about the process, what's going on with matchup hockey. Kind of show you, talk about the overview of the game system, how it plays, what I think hockey played on a board game, hockey game should be like, and then kind of go over how things are done in matchup hockey now, and maybe show you a few plays and stuff. I've actually got to go in about an hour. I've actually got somebody that won one of the board games from the War Room. I'm meeting up in Tampa tonight, so I got to leave at around 6:30. So it gives me about an hour, a little bit less, to talk with you guys, but I wanted to get this started. And then maybe later tonight, I will actually have some gameplay. So if you're around tonight and you're interested, come on back and check this out. Or if you're watching this later on YouTube, look for a matchup hockey game. So, as many of you know, many of you might not know, matchup hockey was introduced a couple years ago. We had a pretty good following going on with it, and worked on it for a long time. And then I got kind of, I don't know, I guess best word is burned out on it. And so I stopped working on it. And I liked it, but I didn't really love it, if you know what I mean. I thought it was a really good game and system and stuff, but just after playing a few games with it, I was like, that's just not exactly what I wanted. And the reason it wasn't what I wanted was because it seemed like the only thing the players ever did was, shoot the puck, right? And find out, how good a scorer they were. And that's kind of all they ever did. And so I've been thinking about the best way to implement it. So when I designed matchup hockey, I wanted to make it hey Johnny, how you doing? Thanks for coming by. I wanted to make, I think, hockey, right? If you look at hockey, it's the fastest sport out there with the most going on. And to simulate that on a board game is extremely hard. So any hockey game that's out there, whether it's Stratomatic, APA, Big Beep Hockey, or whatever, right? Congratulations to those people for actually making a hockey game, because it is not an easy thing. You have to simulate the chaos that's going on 60 minutes, right? It's not like football where you call a set play and then see what happens with that play. Hockey, there's really, you can set up plays, but hardly ever do they actually do anything. So that was the first thing. So simulating hockey is super, super hard. Second thing is, hockey is the only sport where you're constantly bringing people on and off in between, right? In baseball, you got a one-on-one matchup. They have their little thing. You find out the play result, and then you move on. Hockey's the only sport where you have to constantly take players in and out. Now, I know some players, like Dave Gardner, when he plays his hockey games, he likes to extend, like line one, maybe 2 or 4 minutes, and then not make as many lane changes, but give line one more ice time than player two. And that's a good way to do things. But for me, I'm kind of a traditionalist because, part of hockey for me is, getting the matchups that you want, putting your better defenders. I mean, if you look at the playoffs from this year, right? If you look at the playoffs that happened, the teams that were really successful were the ones that were able to put their shutdown lines out there against the other team's scoring line. So the home teams had an advantage, I think, in this playoffs just because of that reason. If you look at, I don't know what the road and home records were this year, but the home records were a lot higher. Home wins, I guess they should say, was a lot higher, I think, because the home team gets the last change. And having the last change means you can see what the other team's doing, and then you can counter it, right? So if you're not constantly putting people in and out of the lineup and taking them on and off the ice, you don't really have that advantage anymore, and it just turns into a kind of a dice chucker, to find out whatever you roll. So that's kind of my philosophy, right? So everyone has their own philosophies. Some people like quick action hockey games or, more in-depth hockey games. When I was trying to design a hockey game, I wanted it to be easy to use and give you all of the options to be able to play with your different players and be able to get those line matchups out there constantly. And also adjust your lines, right? So that's kind of the other thing. Like, I built those Stratomatic card holders, right? So I could flip them over, change the lines pretty easily in Stratomatic. It works great. Problem is, then you really can't change the lines, right? You don't have like a power play team. You don't really have a penalty killing team, which are usually, a player from the third line and a player from the second line, and a player from the second defensive pair and a player from the third defensive pair. Well, you can't switch that out if you're got everything inside of little holders. You're going to have to be taking cards in and out all the time. And that's, to simulate it, we just say, okay, we're going to put line 2 out there. So, what I wanted to do was create something that is easy to manage for players, and they can mix and match things. So I'm just going to kind of broad overview. This is familiar for you guys out there if you watch some of my other matchup hockey games. And it's designed specifically, sorry about that. It's designed specifically so that it doesn't take up much room, right? So you got your 2 team cards out there. I'm using these little tokens because I can't find my little round ones, but these work just as good. And I can literally, to change lines, all I have to do is, okay, this player's coming in, this player's coming in, this player's coming in. I mean, okay, we're gonna put this guy in, and maybe this guy, and this defensive guy, and this defensive guy. Oh wait, there's a penalty. Okay, well then I'm gonna put in, this guy, and this guy, and this guy, and this guy, and then the center won't be playing, and then you can mix and match and do, everything you want quickly and pretty easily, right? All right. Let's see. Johnny, I'm going to be playing it tonight. You missed the intro, but basically what I said was I've got to meet somebody up in Tampa, so I got to leave here in a little bit. I wanted to kind of do an intro video, and then once I get home tonight, I'm hoping to actually get some play in. So, Hissy Cat Studio, thanks for coming. Yeah, this is my design, of course. So again, my design, right, is there's a lot of games out there with big player cards, right, with lots of information on them, right, tons and tons of information, which is great. But again, you're running the problems, right, of how do I get these players off the ice and put new players on? If you got to flip cards over, you got to move cards in and out. It all takes time, right? And I want, if somebody's going to play a hockey game, I think it should be quick and easy, right? Quick and easy to change lines, quick and easy to adjust on the fly, everything. Okay, so let's talk about the new additions, right? So what I didn't like about the last matchup hockey, I liked the ease of use. I liked the small table footprint. I liked everything, but the players weren't doing anything other than shooting, right? They were just, okay, I'm rolling the dice and our team did better than their team, so we get a shot. Or their team did better than my team, and so we got a shot. And it really didn't matter which players you had on the ice because it was a matter of, which dice was higher. So I've changed it now, right? So you're going to be using quite a few dice. Actually, there's going to be 5 dice. Most of them are 6-siders, as you can see, and there's a 10-sider. Can anyone tell me what the 10-sider is used for? You guys probably can figure this out because you're hockey guys, right? So luckily for us, right? As designing this, the other thing I didn't like about the matchup hockey was we were using 6-siders, we're using 10-siders, we're using 20-siders, we're using... So I wanted to keep it more standard and keep it so that players made an impact. It mattered which players were on the ice, not only for their shooting ability, but for other things, for their offense, for their defense, right? Right, Johnny's got it right. We are so lucky in hockey that there are 10 players on the ice normally, unless there's a penalty, every moment of the game, right? Not counting the goalies, which are separate. We're talking about the players on the ice. So with a 10-sided dice, I can quickly decide which player, right, is going to be the important player for the play, right? For the influence of what's going on, right? So again, there's no hockey game out there. There shouldn't be a hockey game that simulates every pass and every skating attempt and everything like that, because it would take you 18 hours to play the game. So most hockey games, and I agree with this, you take a set period of time and you say, okay, in that time frame, whether it's 24 seconds or 30 seconds or 40 seconds, depending on your game system, you take a set amount of time and you say, what happened in that time frame? Was there a shot on goal? Was there a penalty call? Was there a puck that got knocked out of the play? Was there an offsides? Was there a shot? Was it a good quality shot? Was it a bad quality shot? Whatever, right? So the whole thing is driven by this 10-sided dice and this 6-sided dice. All right, and I'll show you this. But the 10-sided dice basically tells us which player we're going to be testing, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the team with the puck. Left wing, center, right wing, left defense, right defense. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is the defending team. Left wing is 6, center is 7, right wing is 8, left defense is 9, right defense is 10. So it always goes left wing, center, right wing, left defense, right defense. Boom, 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 boom. So 1 to 5, 6 and 9. So I can roll this dice and I can roll a 0 and I know, okay, that's the right defenseman on the defending team. So each player now is rated. Let's bring this up for you. So I'm going to show you some charts, or not charts. I'm going to show you some team sheets. So let's see here. So you guys know that my training, my testing, my testing teams. If you've been following along with Matchup Hockey, you know my testing teams are Tampa Bay Lightning and the Washington Capitals from 2017-2018. It's because I've got all the stats and everything for those teams. I've got it all broken down from the last time. Okay. So the new addition is every player is rated for offense and every player is rated for defense. As you can see, higher is better, and they go from 1 to 5 in their ratings. 1 being pretty bad, 2 being below average, 3 is about average, 4 is above average, 5 is outstanding, right? So those are going to be your qualifications. Why do you think it goes from 1 to 5? That's right, because we're going to be using a 6-sider to determine whether or not that player made the play or not. Did they do good or did they do bad? That means, number 1, the players matter. Their stats matter, the players matter. It matters which players you have on the ice. If you put all your really good offensive guys out there and no good defenders out there, when you got the puck, you're going to do really well. But when you don't have the puck, the other team's going to do really well. So, with these 2 dice, I can determine quickly and easily whether or not a player successfully passed his matchup, right? So let's just say, for example, Washington has the puck. We got a face-off. Washington gets the puck. I just roll the 10-sided dice, right? And I roll the 6-sided dice. If I roll a 6, right? I know it's an automatic failure, so it's going to be quick, right? Quick, because I can see, 6, he missed it. He failed. If he rolls a 1, that means it's an automatic success. So really, the only thing I'm looking for is a 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can shake these 2 dice, and I can say, okay. We have the left wing. Oh, I'm sorry. We have the left wing defensively, and his defense needs to be equal to or less than the dice. All right. So this is the team without the puck. Remember, Washington got the puck, so this we're going to check his defense, right? So you can see there. Within like literally 1 second, I can determine, right? So we'll say Washington's the puck again. I rolled the dice. I rolled a 10. So which is that? That's the defender. So this is 1 to 5 is the offensive team. So are we going to be checking their offense or defense? That's right. We're going to be checking their offensive ratings. If I roll 6 to 10, that's which team? It's a defending team. So are we going to be checking their offense or their defense? We're going to be checking their defense. So it's very simple. You can roll the dice and you go, okay, Washington has the puck. Boom, I roll. I rolled a 5. That's the offensive team, right defenseman. And I rolled a 4. Is his offense 4 or better? John Carlson is an offensive 4. So he passes the check. Boom. Then we have these 2 dice. What does everyone think these dice do? Very simple. Again, I'm trying to make things as common and as simple as possible for everyone out there. So when you see a stack of dice, it's like, oh my God, what do I do with all these dice? But once it's like the hieroglyphics in Egypt, right? They're like birds and symbols and squiggly lines and everything. And we don't know how to read that, but they knew how to read it because they knew what they were. Once you understand what the dice do, it's very simple, right? So these dice basically give you the result on the chart. That's it, right? So this one will tell you whether or not the player passed, right? These 2 is a 2 to 12 to see whether or not what the result on the chart is. And then this dice, this last 6-sided dice, is who ends up with that result. So just because the left wing makes his offensive check or the center for the defensive team makes his check doesn't mean he's going to be the one to get the result. He might make the check in the corner to get the puck to somebody else, right? So you roll all the dice, and then you just quickly go through them. Now, the dice are color-coded, believe it or not, right? So if you look at the dice here, they are color-coded. The blue and the blue stick together, right? Because this is the player, and this is his ability check. So these 2 go together, they go together. The 2 white dice always go together because these are the 2 to 12. And then you got this oddball dice, whether it's red, green, purple, orange, whatever. It doesn't matter what color it is. This is the oddball dice. This is the dice that the puck goes to for the result. All right? So, with all that said, we'll assume Tampa Bay has the puck, because you guys can't see Tampa Bay, can you? We'll assume Tampa Bay has the puck, right? Because we have their sheet on the thing for you. We will just roll the dice. So I rolled a 3, right? I rolled a 3, and the 10-sided dice. Well, even on our little charts, there's a cheat sheet for you. Left wing is player number 1. Center is player number 2. Right wing is player number 3. Left defense is player number 4. Right defense is player number 5. So if I rolled a 3, I'm just going to simply look at the right wing, depending on which player I have on the ice. we'll just assume Nikita Kucherov is on the ice. Okay? Now, because Tampa had the puck, and I'm checking Nikita Kucherov, am I going to be checking his offensive or defensive values? Well, they have the puck, so simply, obviously, we're going to be checking his offensive value. For these 6-sided dice, I rolled a 2. All right? So a 2 means, well, basically what this means is offense 4. So 4 or less on the 6-sided dice, he passes this check. 4 or less, he passes his check. It's a 2, so he passed his check. Then we simply look at the last dice, and in this case, it is a 6. Well, that's a problem, right? Because we only have 5 players on the ice. So on a 6, whenever you roll a 6, it's going to be up to the player so he can kind of choose who's going to take the shot or who's going to get the rebound or who's going to, so the player has some say for their teams and to kind of make things, kind of balanced and easy. If Braden Boyd's getting a lot of shots, right, then maybe you go, oh, okay, well, since it's a shot result, we're going to give it to Alex Killorn. And Alex Killorn will take this shot because I rolled a 6. So on a 6, basically, the player gets to make the choice who is going to get the result. All right? So the result. So let's look at the result chart. So before we look at the result chart, so another thing that I wanted to focus in on was I play lots of different sports games. Lots of different sports games. And I don't mind charts. I really don't mind charts at all. But being a YouTube broadcaster, charts are kind of my nemesis, to be honest, right? Just because of what I do, right? Because a lot of times you got your charts up there, you got them in front of your monitors, you got them, scattered around all over the place, and they take up a lot of room and space, and then you can't see the chat, you can't see, like right now, I got this chart up in front of the Tampa Bay Lightning thing, and I can't see any of the defenders or anything. So I'd have to move this chart, I'll move it over here. Well, if I move it over here, then I can't see the chat. Then I'm moving it way over here on the far result. I love charts. I don't mind charts. I think they're really, there's nothing wrong with charts. The cool thing about this is I'm designing this so that it's basically one page. All the information is on the table. And it's on the dice. The dice tell you everything. The player cards, you'll be using them as a reference for the numbers. And then you're just going to look at one chart to determine. So, there is going to be I'll just do it like this. It'll probably be a little easier. Where is it? Here it is. So that's it. That's the only charts you're going to need. And they're pretty much self-explanatory. If the offensive team wins the matchup, or if the defensive team did not win their matchup, that means, if one team doesn't win, then you can't see because I've got you blocked out, don't you? No, I'm not using a deck of event cards. I don't like fast action cards at all. I think there's no good game. I shouldn't say no good game with fast action cards, but very few good games with fast action cards. And I don't think fast action cards do anything to add to the game at all. Everything that I can do with fast action cards, I can do on a one-page chart 10 times better. The reason I can do it 10 times better is because just like APA, right? If you look at my chart here, anytime you roll a 4, doesn't matter what the situation is, it's going to be a play stoppage. So when I look at the white dice, after about 20 minutes of playing, I'm going to remember, oh shit, I rolled a 4. That means it's a play stoppage. Doesn't matter. It's a play stoppage. If you roll a 10, it's a possible penalty. So that is it. So obviously, right? You got one of two things that's going to happen, right? If the offensive team has the puck and they win their matchup, then you roll on the offense win chart. If you're testing the defensive man and you're checking his defense and he fails his check, that means the offensive team wins the matchup. So you're going to either have the offensive team win the matchup or you're going to have the defensive team win the matchup. It's the same as matchup hockey from before. The only difference is the players are now determining whether or not they are successful instead of just basically rolling 2 6-sided dice to see who win the matchup. The players are now determining, oh, hey, I got a 4. I'm pretty good. I should win most of my matchups. Or, if you got Victor Hedman on there who's a defensive 5, hey, anytime you check me defensively, I should win the matchup almost all the time. 83% of the time, to be exact. Somewhere around there. 83 point something. So the players now determine either the offense wins the matchup or the defense wins the matchup. The defense can win the matchup in one of two ways. Either the offense fails or the defense wins. The offense can win in two ways. Either they win their own matchup or the defense fails. So one of the two things is going to happen. Either the defense is going to win the matchup or the offense is going to win the matchup. It's as simple as that. All you're going to do is check to see the players' ratings to see, did I roll less than or equal to the rating? If I did, they pass. If I didn't, they fail. If they fail, they go on. Now, because of this, there is a difference between when I have the puck and a play result, and I don't have the puck and I win the play result, right? So if you think about it, so if you look at a normal hockey game, right, there's usually 99% of the time, right, if you're rooting for a team, you want them to have the puck because if they have the puck, usually things win, shots and goal happen, good things usually happen, right? So you usually want them to have the puck because if they got the puck, they're going into the offensive zone to try and take a shot or set up a play or whatever. The team that doesn't have the puck has to spend the time defending and getting the puck, trying to, once they get the puck, break out of their own zone and then possibly get it into the offensive zone. So if we look at the chart again, you will notice when the offense has the puck and wins, they have a slightly better chance of getting better shots and more shots. Because I've got the puck already, and hey, if I've already got the puck, I should be able to, if I win my matchup, which means my player did good, made a good pass, made a good skate, made a good, pass around the corner, or they, passed it around to a couple players and this, that, and the other thing. Right? So, but probably a little bit better chance to get A, better shots and goal, and B, more shots. If the defensive team wins the matchup, sure, there's still times where the defensive team takes the puck, intercepts it, gets it out of their zone, takes it in the offensive zone, and takes a shot, especially if you're doing 30-second segments, right? So there's plenty of time for that to happen. Not as much of the time they will do that, right? And, a lot of times the defensive team, when they're battling and scrumming with the offensive team and they finally get the puck, what happens, right? Oh, the players are tired, so they go off the ice and, then there's a line change and they don't get up the ice instantaneously and blah, blah, blah. But now they've got possession of the puck. So the next play, if they were able to be successful, then they would get the advantage. So there's an advantage of having the puck in that you will get better shots and more frequent shots. So just like in matchup hockey, there's 3 different kinds of, there is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different kinds of shots. There's an A, B, and a C shot. There's a rebound shot. There's a breakaway shot, there's a penalty shot, and there's a shootout shot if you're using a shootout season. So there's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, there's 7 different shots. But for normal play, right, there's only 3 different kinds of shot, A, B, and C. C being the low quality shot, not a good angle, farther away from the net, the goalie's not screened, whatever you want to describe in your head. How does the D10 handle impact players? Seems a bit random, and every player has the same chance to impact a game. Hockey being a team game is still star-driven. Well, again, if you roll a 6 on the dice, so that is 1/6 of the time, so basically every 6 plays, you'll be able to decide who gets the result. If it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then it automatically goes. I agree with some of what you say. I disagree with other things you say, right? If it is a star-driven league, I agree with that. But you can want to get the puck to Austin Matthews every single play, but if the defensive team has got 2 guys on that guy, he's never going to do anything. How many times at the end of the game does the commentator say, well, Sidney Crosby only got 2 shots on goal this whole game. He was pretty invisible. Well, he wasn't invisible. The defense was all over him all the time. So there's also that situation, right? Where like Austin Matthews, greatest goal scorer in, 2022, right? Oh, well, we're in the playoffs now. We'll just give him the puck every 2 seconds. Well, it doesn't work that way. We'd love to do that, but it doesn't work that way. So players don't have choice all the time. You're going to have these other players taking shots. You're going to have the other players doing things. It is a team game, as you said. So you can't just rely on one player. Let's see. Just checking the chat. Okay, so offense wins, defense wins. These are going to be, 90% of the time you're going to be using these charts. You have your power play, 1 man up. Penalty kill, 1 man down. Same thing with power play, 2-man advantage, and penalty kill with the 2-man advantage. So these are basically your situations that happen in hockey right there, broken down into 6 charts. Then you have a couple special charts down here. Most of these are just penalty charts, right? So the first one is the tip and breakaway. Anytime a tip or a breakaway happens, you're going to roll on this chart to find out who's doing it, as opposed to using the 6-sided dice, because it doesn't make a lot of sense like, some games do. Well, I won't mention them, but it's like, a defenseman is on the breakaway. Sure, it happens every blue moon, but the left defenseman doesn't have an equal chance of getting a breakaway as the left wing. It just doesn't, that's not the way hockey is. It's never been that way, ever. I don't know why some games do it that way. So anytime there's a tip or a breakaway, you got a much better chance of either the center, the left wing, or right wing being called into action. And then, of course, you have penalty checks. This is going to determine whether or not there is a penalty. If there is a penalty, then you're going to roll. If it's a minor penalty, you're going to roll on this chart. It might be a 2-minute. It might be a 2 plus 2. It might be a 2 plus your opponent. It might be a 2 plus a misconduct, etc., etc. If it's a major penalty, you're going to roll on this chart. It might end up being a 5, or it might be a fight. If it's a fight, because if you do 70s and 80s hockey, you got to have that in the game, because that's all they did back then. And then you get a special OMR chart, which is basically anytime you roll on the special OMR, it's going to be basically OMR stands for odd man rush or breakaway. So sometimes it's going to be an odd man rush, sometimes it'll be a breakaway. You roll on the chart to determine that. So you're either going to get a shot in A or a breakaway, though. So that's pretty much the overview. That's it. You got these little charts here. And like I said, pretty much when you use these, you're going to use these charts a lot, right? And then you'll use these charts a little bit. You probably won't use this very often, but occasionally you will. But you'll pretty much learn these results pretty quickly. You won't be spending a lot of time looking at that. Well, thanks. Thanks, Hissy Cat. Thank you. I appreciate that. I am trying to go for the, not the flavor, but, there is. So let's look at, let's zoom in here. So I'm going to zoom way, ooh, that's way in. There you go. All right. So we'll just look at these guys here. So, there's a lot of information that I've jam packed into this. I could have made this a 2-inch by 4-inch card like Status Pro. I could have made it a big card like Stratomatic. But if you look at the Stratomatic cards, there is not a lot of information on it. It's a lot of repeating things that happen. All right. Anyways. Obviously, line 1, you got the center, you got his name and his number and any positions he plays. Offensive value over on the left-hand side, defensive value over on the right-hand side. Again, this is going to be based on a D6. The values for the numbers are 1 to 5. Again, 3 is average, 4 is above average, 2 is below average, 1 is crappy, and 5 is like your superstars, right? You have to be a superstar. So then you have the player's F rating, and their F rating is basically for face-offs. We'll get to face-offs probably not this episode, but maybe when I get back. And then, of course, you have his stats down at the bottom. Right? So games played, 82 games for Braden Point. He had 32 goals, 34 assists, 66 points. Then you have his A rating, his B rating, his C rating, and that is his normal shot ratings. So this is a D12, right? It's a D12. So let's say Braden Point has a C shot. If I roll an 8, it's a potential goal, right? The goalie needs to make the save. If I roll anything else other than an 8, it is a save by the goalie. And then based on what the goalie does with it, it's either going to be, goes to some. We'll get into that when we get into it. But I'll show you that. So his B rating. So if you got a shot on goal B, it's 3 to 5. So 3, 4, or 5 on the dice is then a potential goal. Same thing with A, 3 to 7. Rebound, if it's a rebound shot, it's 3 to 7. If it's a breakaway or a penalty shot, these are basically the same results. So they go in the same column. 3 to 7 and 11 for a breakaway or penalty shot. And then a shootout, it's a 3 to 7 or 9. And the last thing over here is his penalty number. It's a P1 and his star. Some of them you will notice don't have stars. Stars means the player actually had a major penalty. Means they actually had a major penalty sometime in the year, at least one, which means they can be called for a major penalty. If it is not, if they don't have a star, like Tyler Johnson down here, he doesn't have a star, so he can't be called for a major penalty. So if we look at defense, let's scroll down and look at the defense. Pretty much the exact same setup. Again, I want to keep things very common. The only difference is instead of a face-off value, defensemen have a B value. The B value is for blocking. So anytime you take a shot, you are also going to roll the 6-sided dice to see whether or not the shot was blocked. If you roll a 1, then there is a potential shot on goal, and you're going to add the 2 defenders together to find out what their value is. So if Strollman and Hedman were on the ice, he's a B2, he's a B1. So that would be 3. So you're going to look at the 6-sided dice, and you're going to find out, is it 3 or less? If it's 3 or less, then the shot is blocked. Didn't make it on net, and then you're going to look at the 10-sided dice. Why would we look at the 10-sided dice? Well, the 10-sided dice is going to tell us who the freaking puck went to. So that's some of it, right? So you might ask yourself, if we look at the chart again, did I close the damn chart? Good Lord. Where did I put it? Is this it? Yeah, there we go. All right, so obviously if you got a man advantage, the power play team, if they win the matchup, you will notice there's a slight advantage at getting better shots, right? You will get, instead of a B shot on a 5, you will get a B shot on a 6. And instead of a B shot on a 9, you will get a B shot on an 8. So being on the power play gives you a better chance at getting better quality shots. And obviously on the penalty kill, you get less opportunity for shots because you're on the penalty kill. Same thing with the power play 2 and the penalty kill 2. You will notice that now all of a sudden, penalty kill 2, your shot on goal A, which is normally either a 3 or an 11, is now right in the middle is 7. So you're, 6, 7, and 8 are your most common D12s or 2D6s. Your most common numbers, 6, 7, and 8. So those are the numbers you roll, most of the time. You can see with the power play, you're going to get much better chances at much better quality shots. Which makes sense, right? So we're thinking, we're taking real hockey and we're incorporating, how would that play if I was going to put it into a chart? The other advantage you get, being on the one-man advantage, right, is anytime that defending position that is rolled, right, anytime, okay, so let's say Washington has a power play. Tampa Bay does not have the power play, so they are the penalty killers. Well, that means they only have 4 players on the ice. Normally a left wing, a right wing, a center, a right wing, a left wing, a right wing, left defense, and right defense. There's no center. So anytime I roll a 7 on this dice, right? Anytime I roll a 7, that's an automatic failure for the defensive team because they're on the penalty kill. So not only do you get the chart advantage, you also get basically a 1 in 10 chance of an automatic success because that defender's not there anymore. 2-man advantage, you get the advantage in the chart, but you also get the advantage in that there's 2 players out. The left wing and the right wing normally on a 3-man power play, usually 2 defenders and 1 center. Now, players can adjust that based on what they want to do on their little matrix on their cards. They can have 3 forwards in if they wanted to. But again, it is weighted. The defenders usually have slightly a 0.5% better defense than offense. And your forwards usually have slightly better offense than defense. Slightly. It's weighted that way because of the situation. Defenders are there to defend. Forwards are there to attack. So, the dice tell you the results. You just have to be able to read them, right? So anytime I roll the dice, I'm going to more than likely just roll them all. There's times where this dice might not be used, but you might as well just roll them all in case you need it for something. And you just simply roll the dice. The first thing you're going to do is look at the two blue dice or whatever dice come together, right? Ooh, come here, you. Right? So if I roll 1-1, which I just did, I know that's the left wing, and I know that's an automatic success. Because a 1 is automatic success, right? A 6 is automatic failure. So I can look at these 2 dice and go 1-1. All I have to do is look at the 10. Oh, well, you guys probably even remember what a 10 is. Yeah, it's a possible penalty in my opponent, right? So how do I know who my opponent is? Is it just a random? Do I get to choose? No, silly boy. You look at this special dice. This is the player position dice that you need, right? This is the player who's getting checked, right? This is the player who's getting checked. This is the result dice. This is who the play goes to or who the penalty's on or whatever, right? So if I got a 3 on this, I know it's penalty opponent number 3. Well, that's your right wing, so I'm going to check for the right wing. I'm going to simply roll a penalty check right here, and I roll 2d6. In this case, I don't need any of the other dice, but I could roll them all if I wanted to. And let's say he's a P1. and I rolled a 5. So I just simply look at the chart. P5, he's a P1. If I roll a 5, he has to be a penalty 4, and if he has a star on it, then it's a major. If he doesn't have a star, then it's just a P4. But he's not a P4, he's a P1, so it's no penalty. So I simply look at the 10-sided dice, and that tells me who gets the result, right? So it's not a penalty, and you notice the offense gets a shot and goal. So a shot and goal C is going to go to whoever had the puck. And we just roll the dice again now. So let's show you how shot and goal works, right? So we'll say it was come here. We'll say it was Alex Killorn who got a shot of goal C. So you're gonna roll all the dice again. Might as well just roll them all. Boom. Right. So first thing I'm gonna look at is I'm gonna look at this dice right here. This dice tells me whether or not it was blocked. Was it a block shot or was it on net? Again, if it's a 1, there's a possibility of a block. If it's a possibility, you will then look at the special dice, right? If it's not a 1, we don't have to ignore it. It was a 2, so it's no shot, or it's a no block. So then you look at the 2d6 to see if it falls in his range. He rolled a 10. So a 10 is not his number. These are the numbers you need. He needs a 7 on a C shot. So it was a miss. Simply miss. Oh, we didn't show you guys goalies, did we? No, we did not show you goalies. Goalies are basically set up the same way, right? So here's the goalies down here, basically same way. If it's an A shot, a B shot, a C shot, a rebound, a breakaway, or a penalty shot, and a shootout, his stats. Goalies are a little different. They don't have offensive and defensive numbers. They have held numbers, and they have rebound numbers. So the shots on goal, we know it's not a score, but we still roll for the goalie to see what happens to the puck. We look at the 2d6, and in this case, Vasilevsky rolled a 7. So we can see over here on the left-hand side, the puck was held by Vasilevsky because he rolled a 7. Makes sense. That's why it's there. So puck is frozen by Vasilevsky. Face off. You can change lines. Do the normal hockey stuff. Boom, boom, boom. You're ready to go. You're ready to go for a face off for the next thing. Let's roll that again because I want to show you what happens if it's not held. All right. Boom, boom. Oh, you guys can't see again because you're looking at me. Sorry. So Vasilevsky had a C. It was a C shot by Washington. We'll just say it's a C shot. I roll at the dice. All right, this time I rolled a 9. So look, is C a 9? It is not a 9, which means it is not a goal. If it was a 5, it's a goal. Boom, done. It's a goal. It doesn't matter anything else. It's not. It's a 9. Next thing we check is to see whether it was held or a rebound. 9 is not a rebound. 9 is not held. So in this case, the puck has gone around, deflected off of somebody, deflected off Vasilevsky, over in the corner, off the glass, whatever you want to call, off of somebody's stick, right? So how do we determine who has the puck? Anybody out there? Raise your hands. Raise your hands if you know how to determine who has the puck. Right, exactly. All we have to do is look at the 10-sided dice that we just rolled. The 10-sided dice tells us who's got the puck. In this case, I rolled a 1. So 1 means the offensive team's left defenseman. So in this case, Washington shoots it. Vasilevsky makes a save, but doesn't hold it, and it's not a rebound. And it goes in the corner. There's a scrum in the corner, and out of the corner comes Alex Ovechkin, who is the left wing. He's got the puck. So then we'll roll. Now, we know in our heads, Washington has the puck. Tampa Bay's the defending team. So I roll the dice, and I look at the 10-sided dice, and it tells me who is the important player on this check. The important player is 8. 8 is going to be your right wing for Tampa Bay. Right wing for Tampa Bay, we'll just say it's the first line and first defense out there. Nikita Kucherov. He's a D3 because he doesn't have the buck. Remember, Washington has the buck. It's a D3. I rolled a 1. I didn't even need to check, to be honest, because, yeah. Now, I look at the special black dice to see who. All right, so Killorn makes the defensive play, steals the puck. What does he do with it? Now, if it was a 3 on there, he would have kept it for a shot on goal. But in this case, it was a 1. So Kucherov makes a good defensive play on somebody, a stick check on somebody, knocks somebody off the puck, scrummed around behind the goal with it, and he passes it out, and it was a 1, so we know it's Alex Killorn. So Alex Killorn has the puck for Tampa Bay. Now, Tampa Bay is the offensive team. We roll the dice again. We mark off 30 seconds off the clock. Nothing happened. There wasn't any shots on goal, and we roll again. We look at the 10-sided dice. It is a 1, so this case, funny enough, Alex Killorn had the puck, and we're testing Alex Killorn. It doesn't obviously work that way all the time, but it's a 5. Ooh, it's not good for Killorn because he's only a 3. He's got the puck, so he failed his check. Tried to make a pass to someone, it got broken up. Who did it get broken up by, you might ask? Oh, let's look at that special D6. The special D6 says 5. That means it was broken up by the right defenseman, John Carlson. So Carlson intercepts it for his team, and he has an 11. So we look at the chart under 11. So the defense won, and we rolled an 11, and it's blank. Blank basically just means play on. No shots in goal, no penalties, no play stoppage. Just a lot of scrumming with the puck, interceptions. One team intercepted it, then the other team intercepted it. Really nothing specific, nothing important happened at all during that 30-second time period. So again, we got to know who's got the puck. We know who's got the puck. And nothing happened with it. And we are ready to go for the next play. So, boom, boom, boom. Grab the dice. We had a minute of play go by. Just that quick. 2 plays in a row. Nothing happened, which is strange. But, all right, this time it's a 0. So, Tampa Bay has the puck. So, Washington 0 is going to be right defenseman Carlson. So we're going to check his defense. His defense is a 4. He does not have the puck, so we're checking his defense. We rolled a 1. Again, super easy. He passes. So the defensive team, Carlson makes a good defensive play, knocks somebody off the puck. Who did the puck go to? Well, interesting enough, we rolled a 5. Well, it went to himself. So not only did he make a good defensive play, but now he has the puck for a 7. So all we have to do is go back to our chart. The defensive team won the matchup, and we rolled a 7, which means shot on goal B. So we're going to take a shot on goal B from John Carlson. He's actually a 7. So grab all the dice again, and we roll them. First thing we're going to do is check that dice to see is it blocked. We rolled a 6. Again, it can only be a block on a 1. On a 1, then you would check the defense to see if it was a block or not. In this case, it's 6. No block. And he rolls a 6. Oh, so close. He needed a 7, actually. So that is a save by Vasilevsky. So we're going to look at Vasilevsky. Roll the dice again. Oops. Got to scroll this up. Andrei Vasilevsky with it. Let's see what happens with the shot. The shot is a 9. Again, it's not going to be a goal, so we don't have to check the goal. The only thing we have to do is see whether it was held or if there was a rebound. In this case, a 9 is nothing. So we're checking the die to see who gets possession of the puck. And in this case, it is 6, which means it's the defensive team's left wing. Well, that is going to be Tampa Bay. Because remember, they didn't have the puck. Washington had the puck. Washington keeps the puck until Tampa takes it back. So they're still the defensive team. So when I roll a 6, that's the left wing. So Alex Killorn would get possession of it. What about a player's passing ability? Using his assist rating to enhance a team's chance to get a better quality chance. That is way too advanced and way too many steps to get to have that. It's kind of already built into their offensive rating. If they're a good offensive player, they're going to have a better chance of winning the matchup, right? They're going to have a better chance. It's winning the matchup and giving you a better chance to get a better shot on goal because you're winning the matchup. If you don't win the matchup, then the other team wins. So we're going to change lines really quickly. We're going to say both teams put out their second lines. So Tampa Bay has the puck. We're going to roll and see what happens. We're going to look at the 2 blue dice again. And the blue dice says we're going to check 2. Well, that means it's the offensive team's center. So we're going to check Braden Point this time. And we're going to check his offensive rating. I'm sorry, we're going to check Stamkos because we changed the line too, right? And if my mouse would stop acting dumb. So Stamkos' offense is a 4. I rolled a 3. He passes his check. So Stamkos makes a great play offensively. Now we check the modifier dice. It's a 1. So Stamkos makes the play and passes it over to Kunitz for a shot on goal. Or we'll have to look and see what it is. I think it's a shot on goal. Is it a shot on goal? The offensive team won, and he rolled a 6. So, yes, it's a shot on goal C. See, I'm already learning my charts. So, shot on goal C for Chris Kunitz because Stamkos made a good play. He's driving the net. He sees Kunitz, passes the puck over to him. So, Kunitz with a shot C. Let's see what he can do with it. A rolls a 4 on the 6-sided dice, so it's not blocked. But he rolled a 12. So that's going to be an easy save by Holtby. And we can zoom in on Holtby over here. So let's roll on Holtby chart to see what happens with the puck. And we rolled a 10. So we know it wasn't held. We know there wasn't a rebound. So we look at the special dice to see, or we look at the 10-sided dice to see who gets possession of it. In this case, Holtby rolled a 9, which means it's going to be the left defenseman, Matt Niskanen, that gets the play. Yeah, Ghostface, how you doing? All right, guys. Again, I just wanted to cover things really quickly with you guys because I've got to go meet somebody up in Tampa Bay tonight. I'm actually dropping a game off to him that he won last year, and it was just delivered to me last week, and he was out of town and stuff. So we're trying to hook up tonight. So I got to drive up there. I'm hoping to be back in a couple hours, and then I'm actually hoping to get some gameplay in for you guys. Thanks for the design insight in your game. I look forward to playing it in the future. I have a conference call I need to jump on. Yeah. So thanks, Hissy Cat. Appreciate you coming by. Appreciate everyone coming by. I know a lot of you guys have followed this for the last couple years. Like I said, I was happy with matchup hockey, but I wasn't thrilled about it. But now with the new offense and the defensive ratings and players mattering, I think I'm much more excited about it. Of course, this might not be the final evolution. We might add other things to the game that we can add. But I'm trying to keep it simple-ish, but still keep the flavor and the tone of hockey. Changing lines quickly, making quick decisions on what you're doing. When you roll the dice, you literally should be able to decide what happened with that play in 10 or 15 seconds, right? I can roll the dice and go, okay, it's the right defenseman. He rolled a 1. Okay, I know he wins because everyone has at least a 1 rating. So all I have to do is look at the chart and go, it's an 11. 11 means, oh, we get a special odd man rush. So we got an odd man rush, and I rolled a 4 on the odd man rush chart. Where is it? Over here. A 4 is a breakaway. So who got the breakaway? Well, it's the chart. We're going to have to roll on the chart because anytime you have a tip or breakaway, we roll on the chart. And we rolled a 3, which means it's the left defenseman. So unfortunately, we got the left defenseman on a breakaway. That's Dmitry Orlov. On the breakaway, he is a 4-6, actually. Not horrible. On the breakaway, Orlov. Boom. And it's a breakaway. There's no possibility of a shot block, by the way. He rolls an 11, so that is going to be a miss out of his range. And we're going to look at Vasilevsky. Vasilevsky rolls a 3, so it's not held and there's no rebound. So we look at the result. The result is a 3, which means Washington will keep possession, and it's going to be Tom Wilson, the right wing, that is taking possession of it. And, you know, so I did that play 30 seconds, right? So you should be able to boom, 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 make line changes, roll the dice, keep things flowing, keep things going. Not too much lookup, not too much, you know, I hate hockey games where you take this, you know, take this player, subtract this player, and then look at those, cross-index that on a chart. You know, it's none of that. It's either pass or fail, right? It's the if or then statement if you're into coding, right? If this happens, do this. If not, then do this. It's an if-then statement. And the dice tell you that. Check this. If it's successful, then look at these at this player's position and see what the result is. If it's a shot and goal, then repeat over, roll the dice, check to see this dice if it's a block. If not, check these to see if it's in range. If it is not in range, you're going to roll on the goalie chart. If it is in range, you're going to roll on the goalie chart anyways. But then we roll on the goalie chart, you're going to check these to see whether or not it's a held or a rebound. And if not, then this dice will tell you who gets possession of it. If it is a rebound, this will tell you who gets the rebound chance. So if a rebound goes to the defensive team, then it won't be a shot on goal, but it could go to the offensive team. So, anyways, I got to run, guys. Thanks for everyone for coming out. Maybe we'll see you later tonight. I'm going to keep everything set up. Hopefully be home in a couple hours, and hopefully you'll get to see everything step by step tonight. If you're around, come on back. All right. Take care, guys. See you next time. Thanks for watching.